Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Tuesday, February 4th, 2014. I'm Astrologer David Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, February is a big month because Mars is getting ready for a retrograde, so I have done the Frozen in Time February 2014 webinar, going deep into the month to see where will you freeze by the end of this month, and Spiritual House Sessions, my live weekly astrology, house music, tarot show is live now on YouTube. Both of the links are down below. And I think it's so important to pay attention to Frozen in Time. We have Mars, which is getting ready to go into retrograde. Mars does not like to go into retrogrades. Trust me, it's a warrior, wants to move forward, it's action, it's strength. What kind of man do you know that wants to retreat? Wink, wink, in every sort of way possible. But it's true. That's why Mars also represents sex. So when Mars goes retrograde, it's the whole, retreating action. And it's happening at the end of this month. And already, the energy of Mars is starting to slow down. Might want to give Mars some Viagra. No, just totally kidding. And I know, you know what, I went a little crazy with this one, but we're just going to keep going with it. But I think it's important to kind of look at the astrology in a weird way like this. The moon today in Aries, which wants to charge forward, which wants to be very ambitious and move and take action, is going to oppose this energy. And I'm just going to be real big with the astrology here. We're not going to see the moon oppose Mars direct like this for months after this. Because Mars goes retrograde the next time that the moon comes into Aries and opposes this. So this is the last time for our emotions, our strengths, the actions we want to take that we're emotional about in our own lives, has to take a look at these partnerships we're in, these connections that we have. Because Mars is in Libra. Mars, which wants to connect with taking action and moving forward in life, is in Libra, where it has to weigh it out. It has to look at the other half of the coin, not just one side only. There's another side to look at. So before you can bum rush, the castle and move in, are you guys on the team with me? It's like we can't just go into the castle alone. We've got to have our teammate with us. We can't just, do the big rocket launcher without somebody loading the rocket. And in our lives right now, the universe has put us into really big positions with the Venus retrograde and all these positions as we're looking at partnerships. Whether they're in our business, our love life, our personal life, the friends, the past relationships as well. How are all these working out for us to move into our own life, this own freedom we want, because Uranus is in Aries. And we've tapped into that over the last 24 hours. This has to deal with your story and what direction are you taking in your life. And today, as the moon opposes Mars, well, are the right connectors involved for what you want in your life? And that's kind of where things are going now. I think it's going to be a day where we can start to reveal the actions we do want to take in certain relationships, being like, you know what? I know what I want. I know what partner is going to load the rocket right for me, and I'm ready to kind of start to move into that energy. The sun in Aquarius, there's lots of crazy, amazing ideas and all these really electric, powerful, intellectual understandings that are coming into our life. And they go very well with the moon today, as the moon sextiled up to the sun as it's stepping into this opposition to Mars. That I think that as we start to look, the universe is ready for us to start to understand what partnerships, what connections in our life are going to go with our story well. But remember, there is this big T-square in space because Jupiter and Pluto and Venus are in an opposition, which is in Capricorn and Cancer, dealing with, emotional security, dealing with control. Do you feel secure having everything that you need in order to feel safe? And it's not easy, because I think where we're being pressured in is to, number one, identify with what you want. I think for those that are having difficulties understanding what they want, this is very, very difficult times, especially a day like today, where maybe you could start to notice that you've invested everything into partnerships and maybe it's defined you and you're not happy with that. I would say in the last 24, 48 hours, especially based off relationships, It's going to highlight the areas that you're not happy with. It's going to highlight because Mars in Libra is wanting to also push its own story, its own self. So this can be arguments, conflicts, and even today, the moon opposing Mars. Be careful of that. Remember that everybody's got their own story going on. Everybody has their own life, and we're all trying to make them work side by side together. And I think that's the lesson of today, is how can your story work side by others, and to allow that to happen. This is a day where you can start to see the parallels between you and another. This is a day where you can start to see the parallels between that teammate and then maybe even another teammate, and maybe how they work with another teammate and how maybe that will work better for you. I mean, it starts to get really crazy here. And frozen, now to get back to that, I didn't forget about that, is we are about to freeze ourselves into some very powerful situations and partnerships and team members that we're going to go have to play ball with, or we're going to have to go bum rush the castle with, which is our goals, big achievements, because Pluto is in Capricorn. And we've got Venus, which is seated on this Pluto, this intensity, this dynamic, extreme force that is about us achieving our accomplishments, and us really going for what we want to achieve too, like in the biggest way. And we've seeded all these things, and it's going to be based off value systems, partnerships now, connections, and teammates that are going to do that. So the frozen stuff is about, are we going to freeze ourselves in the right situations? Are we going to freeze ourselves with the right people? Are we going to freeze ourselves with the right connections in order to get there? Because the universe is showing we just can't get there by ourselves. It doesn't matter what you do right now. You know, to get to the achievement you want, you're going to need somebody by your side. You're going to need somebody that is in the same vibe. And it's not easy with Saturn and Scorpio because we have these desires, we have these emotions, which are very personal to our own life, that we hide, that we don't expose, whether that's sexual, whether that's appetite-ish, right? You know, that's Scorpio. It's intense. It's vampire-like. You don't want to expose. You never see a vampire really, you know, they're afraid to come out and bite somebody because you expose and see how hungry they really are. But for the most part, they're just walking around pretty normal, you know. That's the whole funny part about vampires. And I think to see in ourselves, you know, as we walk through life and we want to be presentable, because Mars in Libra, trust me, wants to be presentable and look clear and look like it's all gravy. And not look like we're too egotistical. No, I have these goals, but I can't wait to work with you, and blah, blah, blah. You know, we all have our own unique, deep desire inside. And it's all blending with this force that we need to balance out with who we partner with, how we connect, how we let our unique stories and the freedom of ourselves connect with energies where we can still feel that freedom, where we can still feel in control, and where we can still feel comfortable. That's not simple. So the choices we make, I don't think we're near making those choices yet. This is a Venus retrograde that is finished. And Venus is still on Pluto at 13 degrees. It hasn't even moved. We've been at a stationary position. That means, you know, we've been really, you know, the universe has really opened up the portal in a very powerful way for some certain people to come through this little window here, and for us to make some understandings with. And I haven't even brought up Mercury and Pisces, which is stationary on Neptune, which means we are dealing with another world here. We are dealing with a deep spiritual connection to understand, to allow the signs to happen, and to see if we can pay attention to the signs, to see if our mind can really start to see a collective conscious picture in understanding how whatever situations have been put in front of us, that they're there for either a higher good or an unconscious good. And I think that you're going to start to see people now start to move in their directions of conscious and unconscious behavior, relationships that are conscious and relationships that are unconscious. And we're all going to go on this big splitting as we all go and on our own trails to find which directions to go. And I think today is a day for you to understand more of what compadres you want on your side, what connections you need to get where you need to go, because I think the universe has signaled something very powerful and ready for you to take off. Check out my website, inclusiveastrology.com, if you want to purchase a one-on-one reading, or if you want to buy any of the webinars that are available on my site. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you tomorrow.